911?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, from the time you terminated your phone call with Michael Amir to the time you called 911, in that period of time, is that when these events took place that you've described?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So that was a very short period of time. Is that fair to say?
It was a fast period of time, I would say. Yes, sir.
Separating the observations you made, the observations of Mr. Jackson laying on the bed with his palms up, the observations of the condom catheter, and the observations, for example, of the IV stand. Were these isolated observations, or were these observations you were making simultaneously to these events taking place?
Sustained.
Were these observations, you can answer yes or no, were these observations made simultaneously to these, talking about the large propofol bottle inside the saline bag and you placing that in the bag, the other bag, at Conrad Murray's instruction? After these events took place that you've been describing before the break, at that time, did Conrad Murray instruct you to call 911?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you recall what his exact words were?
He said, call 911.
Okay. And do you know from your phone records that that call was placed by you at 12:20 p.m.?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You've reviewed your phone records?
Correct.
Okay. And that call is reflected in People's 26. The bottom of People's 26, 12:20, Alberto Alvarez calling 911 emergency operator, 163 seconds. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And during this short period of time, would this be the period of time that you ushered Paris and Prince out of the room?
Yes.
Okay. Put up the grocery bag into which Dr. Murray dropped the vials and then put that into another bag?
Yes.
And took the saline bag with the propofol bottle in it off the IV stand and placed into another bag?
That's correct, sir.
Are those, following those events, and you've described them in detail earlier, following those events, is that when you called 911?
Yes, sir.
Okay. During these events, you're obviously aware that this was an emergency situation?
Of course, yes.
Okay. Were you moving quickly?
Yes, sir, I was.
And were you obeying Dr. Murray's instructions?
Yes, I was.
Now, when you called 911 per Dr. Murray's instructions at 12:20 p.m., did you relay to the 911 operators what you had observed and what you were observing at that very moment?
That's correct.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time I'd like to play the 911 call. With the court's permission, I'd ask that the CD of the 911 call be marked Peoples 31 for identification. I'd also ask that the transcript of the 911 call be marked Peoples 32 for identification.
They are marked.
Defense counsel has a copy. With the court's permission, may I hand these out to the jurors?
No objection. Thank you. You may. Ladies and gentlemen, each one of you now will receive your own copy of Peoples 32. When you get Peoples 32, put Peoples 32 on that document, and as before, put your seat number on it and circle your seat number. So it's Peoples 32 on the document as well as your seat number. Thanks. Perhaps you may want to give a transcript to Mr. Alvarez.
Yes. And the court?
And me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
The counsel stipulate that Mrs. Theodoro need not transcribe. Mr. Chernoff?
I do.
Mr. Walgren?
Yes, Your Honor.
Stipulations accepted. Ladies and gentlemen, do each of you have your own copy? I think it's still being passed out. Okay. It's Peoples 32. One moment, please. Peoples 32. Does every juror and alternate have a copy? Yes? Nate, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as I indicated once before, the actual exhibit is People's 31, which is the CD of any recording. People's 32 is a transcript prepared by somebody else. Use it only as a guide. If you happen to hear something differently from what is transcribed, rely upon your own recollection and your own determination of the facts. Thanks. Mr. Walker.
Thank you, and I'm now going to play the 911 call.
Yes, I wanted to know, report an emergency?
Okay, where?
100 North Townwood Drive.
Okay, within LA?
Yes.
Okay, will you replace it or not?
No, paramedics. As soon as possible, please.
You said everything's fine, you don't have to turn away, okay?
Yes, as soon as possible,
I'm
please.
turning over to
Yes, sir. I need an ambulance as soon as possible, sir.
Okay, sir. What's your address?
It's 100 North Townwood Drive, Los Angeles, California, 90077.
Is it Carolwood?
Townwood Drive, yes.
Okay, sir. What's the phone number you're calling from?
Area code 909-273-4846.
Okay, sir. And what's the problem with Dr. Knapp?
Sir, we have a gentleman here that needs help, and he's not breathing yet. He's not breathing, and we're trying to pump him, but he's not.
Okay. Okay, how old is he?
He's 50 years old, sir.
50? Okay. He's unconscious, he's not breathing?
Yes, he's not breathing, sir.
Okay, and he's not conscious,
He's not conscious, sir.
Okay. Alright, do you have anybody? Is he on the floor? Where's he at right now?
He's on the bed, sir. He's on the bed.
Okay, let's get him on the floor.
Okay?
Okay, let's get him down to the floor. I'm gonna have to do CPR right now, okay?
We need him. We need
Yes, where are you on our way there? Where are we? I'm gonna do this blood. I can't help you over the phone. Where are you on our way? Did anybody see him?
Yes, we have a personal doctor here with him, sir.
Oh, you have a doctor there?
Yes, but he's not responding to anything, sir. No, he's not responding to CPR or anything, sir.
Oh, okay. Well, we're on our way there. If your guys do a CPR, you're instructed by Dr. Jez, a higher authority than me. And he's there on scene.
Okay.
Was anybody witness what happened?
No, just the doctor, sir. The doctor's been the only one here.
Okay, so did the doctor see what happened?
Doctor, did you see what happened, sir? Sir, you just,
If you come in, we're on our way. I'm just passing these questions on about paramedics while they're on the way there, sir.
thank you, sir. He's pumping his chest, but he's not responding to anything, sir. Please.
Okay, we're on our way. We're less than a mile away. We'll be there shortly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Call us back. Anything else? Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That concludes the playing of the Exhibit 31.
May I resume, Your Honor?
You may.
Mr. Alvarez, was that your voice?
Yes, sir.
Is that difficult to hear?
It is.
And that was you relaying the address and the information, and that Michael Jackson was at that time on the bed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Conrad Murray at that time was still attempting CPR, according to the recording? Now, at that time, to your recollection, was Michael Jackson removed from the bed to the floor?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And at the time that you moved, or please describe how Mr. Jackson was then moved from the bed to the floor.
Well, Dr. Conrad Murray was at the top of the bed, at the top of the bed, and I was at the feet of the bed, and so said we need to move him to the floor. Or I grabbed him from his legs, closer to his ankles in that manner, and Dr. Conrad Murray grabbed him from the upper torso, and we proceeded to move him just down towards the side of the bed.
As you were doing that, did you notice any IV tubing coming from the area of the IV stand into Mr. Jackson's body?
Yes, sir.
What did you see?
There was a long, clear plastic tube that was hanging from the IV bag that was still on the IV stand, and it was connected to Mr. Jackson's leg.
And at some point, did you see Dr. Murray remove that?
Yeah.
Point in time?
Correct.
What did you see?
I seen him pulling it out of his leg.
Okay. And at the time that Mr. Jackson was moved, did you observe Conrad Murray attach some device to Michael Jackson's finger?
Yes, sir.
And again, was that at this point in time that you've described?
Correct.
Describe what you saw.
His hand was to his side.
Whose hand?
Mr. Jackson's hand was to the side, and there was like a brown box right on the bed, and Dr. Conrad Murray actually clamped it or clipped it onto his finger before we moved him down to the bed.
Okay. When you first, on that day, at that moment, when you first saw this brown box, it was on the bed?
Correct, sir.
Okay. Not attached to Michael Jackson?
No, sir.
Okay.
Double negative?
Was it attached to Michael Jackson?
No, sir.
Okay. And then you saw Dr. Murray take it, and you described, for the record, you described him clipping it on to Mr. Jackson's finger?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Your Honor, if the court desires, we can unplug the audio so we don't have the feedback.
Yeah, we're getting a little feedback, and Deputy Jones is going to help us out with that. Thank you, sir.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm going to have an item here, Your Honor. It's a oximeter. Previously booked into LAPD custody as item 135. It's previously been shown to defense counsel. May this be marked Peoples 33 for identification, Your Honor?
It is.
I'd like to take a look at it real quick.
You may, Mr. Turner. Let me know.
Do you want to see it?
Yes. No objections.
Thank you. Mr. Walgren?
Thank you. And I will at this time ask that Peoples 33 be moved into evidence, Your Honor.
Any objection, Mr. Turner?
No objections.
People's 33 is received in evidence.
Mr. Alvarez, I want to show you Peoples 33. And describing for the record, it's a small plastic device. Attached to it is a dark neck lanyard or cord. Do you recognize this item, sir?
Yes, I do.
Is this the item that you saw laying in the bed at the time you were moving Mr. Jackson from the bed to the floor with Dr. Murray's assistance?
Going from the area of jurors 1 and 7 to the area of the alternates in this case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Alvarez, you began to, I'd asked you if you had an idea of what this device was on June 25th, 2009, and you began to indicate you did. Can you please explain what your knowledge was of this device at the time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And does this appear to be the item that you saw Conrad Murray pick up from the bed and clip on to Michael Jackson's finger in this manner?
It does. It appears, yes, sir.
Okay. And at that time, did you have any idea what this item was?
Yes, sir. A few days prior.
Let me ask, as a medical device, did you know what this item was?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay. Let me ask you before you explain that. May I publish this to the jury, Your Honor?
Any objection, Mr. Chernoff?
No objection.
Thank you. People's 33 can be published.
A heart monitor, I believe he mentioned. Something to that extent. Yes, sir.
Some description of it being a monitor?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Correct.
And that was a few days prior to June 25th?
Yes, sir. Could have been a week, something to that.
Okay. But on June 25th, 2009, when you first saw this device, it was laying in the bed?
Correct.
Mr. Alvarez, at some point then, following the call to 911, did Fahim Mohammed arrive in the room? Murray clip it on to Michael Jackson's finger.
Well, what I remember, sir, is that a few days before June 25th, Dr. Conrad Murray came down towards the security trailer, and he came in and asked the security staff if anybody had batteries, AAA batteries to be exact. And there was one of the securities, which is Isaac Muhammad, that reached into his briefcase and was able to pull out 2 AAA batteries and then proceeded to give them to Dr. Conrad Murray.
Okay. And you had seen Dr. Murray holding the device at that time?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And was something said by Dr. Murray that gave you some idea of what this device was?
Yes, I remember asking him what that was, and